Robert Kpadeh, Liberia's permanent representative to the International Maritime Organization. He will make his presentation and will take questions from the press.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Let me begin by extending my profound thanks to comrade, brother, and dear friend, Minister Pia, who is the distinguished Minister of Information, and the team, for the opportunity to share this hallowed podium. And let me also give salute to my friends who accompany me here to this session. I am profoundly pleased that I returned to MICAT after many years, maybe 10 years, when I worked here as Deputy Minister for Technical Services and on 2 occasions as IT Minister of Information. But I recall quite clearly when I led the press briefings to cover our progress on the fight against Ebola. Every day we had press conference here. Every day we set the stage to allow sector heads across the broad spectrum of the healthcare sector to come here and give us a briefing on the progress as a country we were making to battle and foil the deadly Ebola virus. Mr. Pia, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to come here, but I see how beautiful the building is. The edifice is outstanding, it's gorgeous. What it tells me in one sentence: leadership. Leadership demonstrated here. So I give my salute to you and your team for the beautification of the building, how tall it is. And I see on display the cultural artifacts and other symbols of our country and our tradition and culture. Yeah. To say to you and the rest of the world that this is the house of the Ministry of Cultural Affairs and Tourism. I can't thank you enough, Minister Pia, you and your team, for the incredible work you're doing. Distinguished colleagues of the press, let me begin by extending Easter felicitation to our fellow citizens across the country through your microphones and your cameras. And let me say to fellow Liberians, my salute and my most respect. I have the honor to serve as Liberia's permanent representative to the IMO, and let me give my deepest appreciation to the President of the Republic, His Excellency President Joseph Boakai, for the confidence reposed in me to represent our country to such a very critical, significant stage in global diplomacy and politics. That being said, let me now seize the liberty to share with you my little briefings on what we're doing at the IMO, what are the critical accomplishments we have recorded over the last 1 year, how Liberia is standing in the global maritime industry, and how our country is respected once again on the global stage in the context of global maritime affairs. Some of you might know, some of you might not know what the IMO is. The IMO is the International Maritime Organization, established in 1958. It's a specialized UN body with emphasis on shipping, global international shipping. And the work of the IMO is to ensure safety and security for international shipping, but to ensure the protection of the marine environment. And In maritime language, when we say marine environment, we're talking about the sea, the ocean, the riverbanks, and other ecotourism areas that comprise what we call the ocean economy or the blue economy. 1 year ago, the president preferred me to serve as Liberia's permanent representative of the IMO. And since then, we have represented the country very, very, very effectively and efficiently. And I have the honor to report to you, to the nation, that the state of the Liberia Permanent Mission in London is strong, is vibrant, is proud, is admired, is respected. That our country one more has a very tall standing, our country one more respected in the corridors of the IMO because of the quality of work that we do there and the qualitative presentation that we will make during achievements, but of course the leadership that Liberia demonstrate in the corridors and the workings of the IMO. So, since I've been at the IMO, 1 year, 1 month now, when we got to the IMO, we had a moral duty. We had a lot of work to be done, considering previous stories that occurred. So we needed to retool the country's image at the IMO. So I mobilized my team and worked diligently to engage across the aisle with other member states. But more importantly, to engage the Secretary General, His Excellency Arsenio Dominguez, and to say to you, to say to him the place is trying, and Liberia now has a new representation. And so we make it our duty to work in section, to work in committee groups, working groups, and subcommittee groups, and ensure the voice of our country, of course, was towering, effective, and efficient. I'd like to say to you, amongst member states, at least 180 member states that comprise the entire member states of the IMO, Liberia is once again respected for the work we do. We continue to engage fellow member states to strengthen bonds that we've had in the past. We continue to engage to build new bonds for the good of advancing our country to greater heights in the enterprise of global maritime. And we continue to build big bridges as a global maritime leader. Liberia is a council member at the level of the IMO. And it sits at the category of A, meaning the echelon of the council. The council comprises 3 segments or 3 categories: A, B, and C. A, of course, country with greater maritime interest and emphasis and significance, and Liberia, amongst the US, China, France, and other global powers of the world, Liberia sits as the pride of Africa at that council. What is the importance of sitting in a council? The importance is that Liberia has opportunity to influence international maritime affairs decisions. Liberia has the opportunity to talk about its blue economy, and Liberia has the opportunity to exchange with global maritime powers. And so our country is a global maritime leader as it sits on the council in the category of category A. So over the time, we have strengthened Liberia relationship not only with the IMO leadership, but with member states. So this brings me to the point of Liberia's re-election. In December this year, Liberia will go for election to retain its seat at the council as a category A council member. I'm pleased to report to you that we have embarked on a very aggressive campaign. I have traversed the world speaking with countries, and they are pending travels to go to the UN, to the AU, to ECOWAS, and the EU to strengthen our bond with them, and to say to them, because Liberia has demonstrated absolute leadership, we are resolutely ready to retain our seat for so many reasons. One, we're the biggest registry with a fleet size of over 5,000 vessels. Two, we are the biggest due payer in the world to the IMO. And as I report to you, just yesterday, Liberia has settled its due over £5 million. And if we do the conversion to US, it should be over $7 million. We paid our dues. It demonstrates leadership. It demonstrates that we're a responsible nation, and we're doing everything to work with the IMO leadership to advance global shipping to noble heights. So, Liberia currently chairs the MEPC. The MEPC is the largest constitutional committee of the 5 different committees at the IMO. If some of you follow me carefully, you know that last month the MEPC editorial was held. Liberia had the singular honor of chairing that session for a week, and of course our own dear alternate permanent rep, Dr. Harry Conway, chaired that, and of course the outcome of that 1 week session at the IMO plenary saw a new strategy and resolution that we see going forward after October, when we finally adopt it, see the reduction of greenhouse gas across the maritime landscape globally. So with all of this very towering, outstanding credential, we think we have a very strong pedestal to advance our country to re-election for council, and I can show you with the reciprocal support we're getting from fellow council members across a broad spectrum of the member states, African states, European states, we can say with willing courage, Liberia will be re-elected. We will be re-elected because we are a responsible member of the IMO. We pay our dues, we provide leadership in working groups, in subcommittees and committees, and we participate very actively in plenary conversation as well as decision emanating from the IMO to ensure that the global maritime industry put emphasis on safety and security and to protect the environment. I'd like to ask you for your support and your prayers over the next 4, 5, 6 months to help us work diligently, help us engage very effectively, help us do all we can do to ensure that our country is re-elected. Now, when we talk about these things, it's not about politics, it's not about a party, it's not about just the government, it's about the country. When Liberia rises to great heights in the international community, it's a pride that comes to every Liberian, whether you are a party member, whether you are a common citizen, whatever, your country flag is raised high. So we ask the press, we ask fellow citizens to give us your support, to give us your prayers, to ensure that we keep raising our country flag high. Imagine 10 senior council members, America, France, China, Japan, those powerful countries with huge maritime interests. And somewhere there is Liberia, the only African country at that council seat, in council, having conversation with big powers, influencing decision, and of course commanding respect from our colleagues. I can't emphasize enough the pride that comes to our country and the pride that we all share as citizens of our country. Far apart from politics, is about patriotism. So I just like to you, colleagues of the press, you have a greater responsibility. We try at the permanent mission to put out enough information so that you have something to report to our people. We want to rally your support, your involvement in this electoral process, this campaign process that will see Liberia retain a seat in December. So next month, the 26th of May, we will launch our re-election bid. I know China has done, I know Canada has done, I know a few other countries have done. Liberia, the world will be watching. The BBC and Al Jazeera and other global institutions will descend on London for our launch. Why? And because of the work we've done. We're not just a council member, we are a global maritime leader. I should say to you proudly that 15 or 16% of the IMO national budget, operational annual budget is paid by Liberia. I want you to understand how big your country is on the global scene. Maybe some of you don't have the information, so you don't appreciate what we do internationally. And that's why we're here to share that information with you. The world respects you when it comes to the global maritime enterprise. The world salutes you. So I just like to, humbly ask your support as we go through this process. On the 26th, we are hoping to have the distinguished Foreign Minister, Her Excellency Sarah Beslow, our distinguished Commissioner CEO Casamito Zazala, who has been very outstanding in terms of his leadership, and will attribute all the gains we're making to his support and his leadership. The office of the Maritime in Virginia, and then we'll have the rest of the Global Maritime Body joining us on May 26th to launch our campaign. We'll work with Minister Pia and his team to bring this to you here at the local press. It will be very live. The BBC and other people will cover it as we make this launch. What we intend to do this year, we will have our launch on the boat, on the Thames River in London. We will use the opportunity to showcase Liberia's blue economy potential. We will talk about what we think make us far more vibrant, ready and prepared and qualified and competent to be re-elected. The Foreign Minister will give a speech. Commissioner Lai will give a speech. I, the small man, probably will lay the platform for them, so that we'll talk about our bid for re-election. Let me emphasize and illustrate the significance of maritime. The global maritime accounts for over 85% of trade and commerce. The LDCs, being the low development country, rely on maritime. The world relies on maritime. So, not looking at the level of Liberia. Maybe 80% of what we consume here comes from the international community. Come from outside. Rice, your staple, fuel, and every other thing, commodities that come here. They are conveyed here by ship. And so, global maritime is very important. And Liberia plays a very major role as a global maritime leader. Which is why we think the effort by the state, by the foreign ministry, to ensure that Liberia compete for a non-permanent member seat at the Security Council is very, very important. If our country is a council member, if our country pays the highest due at the IMO, which is a specialized UN body. If global maritime accounts for over 85% of international trade or global trade, if Liberia plays leadership role there, and if this borders on economic security, why not give us a chance to have a non-permanent seat at the Security Council? So I'm pleased to inform you that the President has spoken with us and has asked us to work with the Foreign Ministry team to bring to bear Liberia's credential and accomplishment, an enviable record in global maritime affairs, toward the argument that we make collectively for the non-permanent seat on the UN Security Council. So let me inform you that maritime will be part of that campaign, bringing forth our credentials and all that we do, and put us in a better position. Beyond that, our country continues to demonstrate leadership. We've had experience. We saw the tragedy of war and terror and horror. We woke up, put ourselves together. We have a democracy that we find faith in and we cherish. We see smooth transition consistently from one president, elected president to another. We see legislative election smoothly. In the face of disagreements, we agree as one people to maintain the peace and tranquility of our country. We know the ropes to get to peace because we have had war before. So Liberia, based on all of what I've shared with you, whether it be at the IMO, be it the experience, everything, certainly have the moral pedestal to stand for that seat, and we will be lending our support to the effect. Distinguished colleagues of the press, let me now come to a very important aspect that we want to rally and solicit your support on, is the IFAMA Summit. Let me officially announce to you that Liberia will host the IFAMA Summit from 30th September to the 4th of October. Let me talk a little bit about AMA. AMA is the African Maritime Administration. It's a composite or a conglomerate of African maritime member states. Close to 50 countries across Africa are member of the AMA. Last year, we had the honor of attending and participating in the 7th summit in Dar es Salaam. And after all our deliberation, the task of choosing the next host was amongst 4 countries: Liberia, Ghana, Kenya, and Nigeria. Because Liberia continued to demonstrate leadership, compose itself very well in the global maritime space, the AMA Summit, the Assembly, decided that they will honor us with the IFAMA Summit. This is big for our country. This is a pride for our country. Again, in the spirit of patriotism, I admonish fellow citizens here in this room and across our country, following me by your cameras and your live shows. This is a moment for us to share in and for us to come together. When we went to Dar es Salaam, the president and whole full complement of the state of Tanzania owned this program. Citizens stood on the roadside with the flag, Tanzania flag, to receive us. This is by far the biggest conference since Liberia hosted the AAU or the OAU in 1979. 58 African countries with troops on Monrovia. European countries will come, essentially because this year is a major year for IMO and a lot of elections going on. We are expecting to have His Excellency Asilio Dominguez, the Secretary General, who has said to me he will attend because Liberia is a friend. But not only that, I said to you, the role we play in the National Marathon to come for this conference. Let me again re-emphasize patriotism. What are you? From CDC, from Unity Party, from Liberty Party, put that behind you. On this conference, like the Tanzanians did, the Ghanaians will be Ghana will be hosting the 9th conference after year. They are coming to see how we organize the conference. They come to see how Liberia compose and comport itself as a global maritime leader. The world will be coming here. Europeans will be coming here. We ask fellow citizens, in the spirit of patriotism, to join in and join ranks, give their support. Make sure this is a successful program. Later this, maybe in August, the Minister of Information, who is heading the PR aspect of this conference, will give you a lot of information on protocols, on what will be happening and stuff like that. But what we've done effectively, we've been able to bring together state parastatals, state institutions with relevant significance to this planning. Information Ministry, Foreign Ministry, Minister of State, you know, the maritime, all of them, to come together, all right, and lay the roadmap for a successful conference that is expected to last for maybe 4 days. We want good attitude. We want the press to give us good report. We want the press to unshackle themselves from journalism. Because before journalism, you're Liberian first. And so you have a duty to love your country. And this coming to your country on the basis of merit. Not because, you know, a particular party is in power, even though a particular party has conducted itself fervently, responsibly, which I underscore to you. But this is a country. The pride we have to share, we own the country together. So we want to ask your indulgence for your support, members of the press. I want to ask all our people across Maserati, even those beyond Maserati, to put us in your prayers and send us your moral support as Liberia hosts the 8th Armored Summit with over 48 African countries coming here, over 30 international maritime organizations led by the IMO, European Union, coming here to discuss the affairs of maritime, to discuss the affairs of African blue economy, the potential that we have. How can we harness that potential? How can we, beyond IMO as a continent, come together, strengthen our resources, and lay down a roadmap on how maritime can be a blessing to our country, to our citizenry. This is very important. The maritime sector is very important because it holds huge potential. Liberia is blessed. Look at the waterways. You know, look at the waterways, the ocean, the seas, the riverbed. Look at your touristic sites, ecotourism. What is Kpadeh? What is the blue, how you call it, the blue what? The blue lake? And other places across the country. Business, maritime business, people from the industry will be coming. So it's a very, very, very big one. So pretty much, I think I have covered substantially my presentation. I just again want to say to all of you, we can assure you that we will continue to represent our country with pride and dignity. We will work diligently to make Liberia proud at the level of the IMO, and we will continue to inform the Liberian public on the work we're doing in the spirit of public service accountability and transparency, as we always do. And to say to all of you, God bless you, and Mr. Pia, thank you for the opportunity to come and share your podium. If you have questions, I'm sure that will be, of course.
Yes, so you just